The kitties are here. It's sunny. She's gonna eat through this whole thing. Welcome back if you're back, and welcome if you're not back. I'm Emily, your gracious host. Today, what we're gonna talk about happens to be resolutions. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make eye contact with you. This is very difficult. Oh god, don't rub off the makeup. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about resolutions. And since it's the beginning of the year, that's when most people do resolutions. I personally think that you can do them all year round, but this year I decided to do the January resolutions. Mostly because, why not? So here are my 2018 bookish and possibly other resolutions. My first resolution for this year is going to be to read more. Do I have one over here? Classics. For instance, I have not read this. I probably stole it from my mom when I moved, and she just never told me I stole it or realized I stole it, so I have it. I really want to expand my reading and start doing, more scholarly thinking, if that makes any sense and doesn't sound pretentious. What I want to do is branch out from the easy reading, and I want to grow my mind. I know that's what school is for, and a lot of people are starting to get out of school, and when I got out of school, it was really difficult to feel productive, and I feel like that's one of the things that you can do to ease your soul and make you feel like you're taking in more information and becoming a better person, in the end. I would very much like to be a real English major and live my life that way. My second, wait, did I look up and do that like I always do? Here, let's try this. My second resolution that I would like to complete in 2018, and all these I'm probably going to continue on because I feel like that's how resolutions are supposed to be. It's not supposed to be just for the year, it's just supposed to be for now forward. So, now forward, I would like to actively read more diversely. What I mean by this is not accidentally finding things that are diverse, like, for instance, it's really convenient that I film in front of a bookshelf because I didn't think to bring books and I didn't want to bring books to begin with, but here we are. What I mean by actively trying to read diversely is me basically saying I don't want to do what I did when I found All the Boys I Loved Before. This is a gorgeous cover, and I really appreciate the diversity of the characters within here. Like, the family is Asian American and the dad is ambiguously white? I don't know, I think. But they're from Asian descent from their mom, and I happened upon this book because everybody was super about it. I think that's when I first started watching BookTube, and I saw a lot of people recommend this. I accidentally found this, and I accidentally got a diverse read, which is cool, super good. Not really complaining. I just want to go out and specifically look for things like that. For instance, with The Heyyyyy Give, I specifically read it because I knew, first off, it was going to be very enlightening and show another side and point of view that I don't have. And then secondly, it was something I knew was diverse, and I wanted to support it and be a part of it. So another thing I want to do going forward is to actively make sure I'm including diverse reads, diverse authors, own voices. I want to read more LGBT, well, I guess P is in it, kind of, I don't know. Well, I want to read more LGBTQIA books. I want to make sure I read more things that are from different cultures. For instance, I know there's this book called Crazy Rich Asians. It sounds weird as a title, but I've seen another booktuber on here whose name I will forget until tomorrow, and Squibble Read. Ha 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 ha! I did it! Squibble Reads. She discussed Crazy Rich Asians and how it made her feel seeing those kinds of characters that are like her family being in a book. And I want to support that and learn about other things. It's really boring reading about another white girl who wants to be a writer and runs. Like, those are cool things, but I want other things. If you feel me? I feel like I'm just like... sippy sippy. Peace out, buddy. What is the next one? I have things in my head. I have a list. I'm trying here. I literally cannot stand heat. So this is the weirdness of doing natural lighting, is heat is always involved. My next resolution that I would like to get to in 2018 is starting to read more critically. What I mean by this, I mean, that seems kind of almost straightforward. You're really hot. Let me put you down. What do I mean by read more critically? Kind of ambiguous. Let's start this over again. Reading critically. What do I mean by this? For me, personally, I mean reading slower. I want to take the time to actually look at the words that the author put on the page specifically. I'm definitely a exposition, jumper. I was gonna say skimmer, but sometimes I'm too into it and I just like jump to the next part. And then I feel guilty and I go back and read, but I still do it. And I really want to stop doing that, especially in books that have a lot going on. For instance, I started to realize I was doing this a lot more when I was reading A Darker Shade of Magic. There's a lot going on in this book. There's like a whole world being explained, there's a magic system. It's really pretty. It's really pretty, and you don't want to skip it. And I was seeing myself trying to read through it fast, and in this book, I particularly remember slowing myself down, reading it carefully, and trying to absorb it better. I'm also having a really bad memory, so like some of these things kind of mostly apply and will help, but also it still kind of sucks. But that's what I want to start doing with all of my reading. Of course, there are going to be some things that it's fine if I just skim read. But books that I want to understand and look at as a writer and as a reader and see how it was crafted and appreciate how it was crafted, I really want to read those more critically, if you get my gist. Also, books like classics, I need to start doing that. It's very difficult for me to pick up a classic and read it. Mostly because I do have to transition how I'm reading it. I have to slow down. I have to think about the words that are being used a whole lot more because sometimes I don't know them. And that's okay. This next year, I really want to start putting work into reading. I know it's a leisure activity and I appreciate it when people use it as such. I just want to make sure I'm not just ignoring the work that goes into it. Like, I've started doing that with mangas and comic books and graphic novels and even animes because of who I am as a person. I want to appreciate it and let it soak in how much work it was. Because I feel like as anybody who is creative, that's a really useful thing to think about. So this next year, and probably going forward in life, I would like to appreciate the craft of storytelling more. Didn't realize that's where this was going, but it's a self-made journey here in my apartment on a Sunday morning. Brief interlude while I pull books from the shelf. Another thing I want to do that's kind of in the vein of reading critically is I want to start taking notes in books. I know, some people are going to be like, and a lot of people are going to be very excited because it's kind of a split street on this topic. A lot of people believe books need to be kept in high regard and beautiful and amazing, and honestly, I am usually swaying that way. If I buy a book, it's gotta look nice, and I want it to be pretty. I don't know. I like things that look nice. There's really no way out of that. I really want to start taking notes. There's only going to be a certain kind of book that I want to write in. And that's going to be the ones that, again, I really want to read that critically. This can be books like Stephen King on writing, where it's something that I honestly should take a little bit more seriously for myself. I shouldn't just be reading through it when I know that I'm not really good at remembering details. It's always so much easier to remember things if you physically write it down. Typing isn't as good as writing. I'm sorry, it's not. It's scientifically proven. So I want to start doing that with books that I need to look into, or books that I'm trying to read and understand how it works and review it correctly. It's like books that I know that I want to sit down and have an afternoon with. I want to be able to go through and look back every time I need to check in with it and see what I thought before and see if my thoughts have changed. So I really want to do this kind of with a lot of the classics because it's easier to realize what you're reading when you annotate on a page. Especially learned that in college. Did that with my, honestly, if I showed you even part of a play from my Shakespeare anthology that I did, there is so much writing. It's so hard to understand sometimes. And I kind of want to do that. I want to make sure I understand what I'm reading. And so those books I'd like to annotate. Obviously, I'm not going to annotate the library copies I get. I'm not a heathen. And I don't want to annotate some of the like softer enjoyment reads that I get, because like that's not what they're for. Unless it's something that I see that I want to talk about and I want to really get into it, I'm not going to annotate it. That's how this works. Wow. Seems to be a theme. The next one, my fourth resolution, because I have realized I say and the next one and then this one way too much in my life. The last resolution that I can think of that I honestly like was thinking about as I've been filming this is that I want to start reading more nonfiction books. I do read some. I like to read memoirs. Here, let me fucking pull out some memoirs for you. For instance, I really like Tina Fey's. Hers is really good. I thought it was well done. And this one is, it's called Funny in Farsi, and it is about her growing up Iranian in America. It's hilarious. There's a bunch of different stories that she has. They include her dad and her family just doing some interesting things that you wouldn't expect, but like because of the culture shocks and things. And I want to start reading more things like this. It's a personal story, it's nonfiction, it's culturally diverse, it's really intriguing, which is why I've kept it for almost, oh god, 10 years? Oh god. Less than 10 years. It's been like 8 years, but still, that's pretty long. And the last one I have is Buffering by Hannah Hart. I love Hannah Hart so much. And so of course I got her memoir. Or my friend got me her memoir for my birthday. So I really want to start picking up memoirs and reading through them and seeing how other people perceive the world. Because I think that's a really useful thing to do. Whether you're a writer or not, you're still a human and you still need to understand other people. You deal with them every day. You see them in the supermarket. You drive behind them. You gotta understand them. Anyway, what was I saying? I got on a tangent about memoirs. What are we talking about? My fourth resolution, which is reading nonfiction. Oh, I guess like a layer of this would be, again, reading books about the craft. I will accept books about witchcraft and about writing because references. Anyway, I really need to start taking things more seriously if I want them to be in my life. Again, with reading, if I want it to be an important part of my life, I need to take it more seriously. I need to give it a more prominent place in my life. The same thing, I'm sorry I'm squinting. It is really bright and I can feel it squinting. But another thing is writing. If I want to do anything with writing in my life, I need to take it seriously and make it a little bit more than a hobby. It needs to be something I work on and learn about and actively participate with. And so this next year going forward, I would really like to nail myself down and start doing that, because it's really difficult. Let's see, I was talking about writing. Honestly, I just get on tangents. I need to start not thinking things are just going to happen to me, and I need to put the energy into it and not be jealous of other people who have done so and prospered, because that's how it works. That's how life is. And I think that's kind of the basis of resolutions, really, is seeing what other people have and wanting it. But you have to realize there's a... You have to put a lot of work in if you want to see any kind of results. Whether it is in your comprehension of books or in your personal life. It's just what you gotta do. And I think it's kind of like a mini revelation to realize that. Because you kind of know it. But it's a little different to come to the conclusion underlying. So I think, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I've gotta do. I have to go buy groceries and shit, but like, I think that's all I gotta do for this video. I talked about all my resolutions. I want to read more classics, I want to read more critically, I want to read more diversely, and I need to read more. Gotta put the work in. Buddy, that's why I have to go get a gym membership later today too. You want it, you gotta put the work in. Thank you for watching. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for going on this journey with me to self-actualization. Not really, but like self-realization, coming up with ideas. I really appreciate it. What are your resolutions? Are they, you know, atypical, or are they, you know, not? I don't know. Tell me about yourself. Pop a squat. Leave some words for me. I hope that your resolutions are going well, and if they're not going well, there's always time to re-pick them up. Resolutions are not just for the first of the year. They're for every new minute of your life. And with that, I leave you. So goodbye.